Jacob Myers.
Okay.
That'll be BZA.
Okay. Got which Rick's phone?
Looks like we got 3 more there. Chad, you want to get them too?
Yeah, so what's that? We have Rick, Adam Ledsinger, Russell Hayes, Chuck Suttles, and Susan Arnold.
Okay.
I got 5. There's 5.
It looks like we just lost Lance. He's disappeared now.
Russell. Is Russell here for what? Russell Hayes.
Hey, Russell, what? Who are you with?
Hey, this is Adam Ledsinger. Russell and Rick and I are all here for the Fast Pace Health Clinic.
Very
Oh,
good.
okay.
Very good. Thank you.
Okay. What's Rick's last name?
Morrow, Morrow.
Thank you. Russell. Okay. Anybody want to volunteer for be the secretary? It's so hard to hear it. Well, they'll be leaving. Anybody else can do it?
I don't care.
I got it.
Joe, you want that?
I can hear it. No.
Okay.
I'll be.
All right. All right. It'll stop. So just get it in. There you go.
You see why I don't roll like this. Hey. Okay, here we go.
Okay.
You know you can put it on silent, right?
I don't know how to work anything on it. It's new. I got it in something. Okay. With our nation COVID-19 by governor meet health, safety, and prevent the spread of COVID-19. Public will not be allowed to access this meeting except by electronic means in order to limit the number of attendees to no more than 10 people as mandated. If you're interested in attending this meeting, you can use the following options. Zoom app meeting ID 894-7454-2297, password 54321, or call 1-929-205-6099. Meeting ID 894-754-2297. The Zoom and the call-in meeting ID is the same, and the password is the same, 54321. Call the meeting to order. Reading the procedure statement. Item 3, the regularly scheduled monthly meeting for July 20th is being held by Zoom and/or phone conference call. To participate, please follow the options shown above. This meeting complies with Governor Lee's executive order number 34. Item 4, roll call by secretary.
Well, that would be me. So
Everybody here but Grady.
everybody but Grady. Grady's out. Grady's had some medical procedures, so we'll get everybody but Grady.
Okay.
Well, we got to call it out for them. So, Mr. Jones,
I'm here.
Mr. Davis,
David here.
Mr. Dahl,
Here.
here, Mr. Jim, Mr. Ryan,
Here.
and Bill. We're good. Okay.
And we'll call by the phone participants. We've still got, I got 6 down here that you have. Chuck Suttle, Susan Arnold, Lance Schultz, Adam Ledsinger, Rick Morrow, and Russell Hayes. Is that right? Anybody else?
Oh, I think we're looking at
Yeah,
8
Adam.
right there.
Yeah,
Right?
Adam.
So we got 8 of them right there. Yep.
And Chad.
Okay,
Approval of the minutes of the previous meeting.
they're in my office, well, I'll go get them.
We can hold until next meeting. Is that-
Right.
that's your-
Or I'll go get them when we start looking at these plats or something, okay?
Recognition of citizens. Got them all listed, called in, or none here in the room. Communication from the chairman, none. Reports from the staff and committees.
None at this time.
Old business report on transient housing rentals.
Okay, we have back in 2018, you guys had a transient housing rental thing proposed. And it went to, it was to go to city attorney, and Commission Member Dawson made a motion at that time to send it to city attorney for review. It went to city attorney for review or it didn't, I don't know. We don't know what happened to it after that. But anyway, I made sure that Susan had a copy of it and she had some comments on it. Susan, you want to run with that?
Yeah, the ordinance, there were two ordinances. There was an ordinance, as I recall, and as Dan provided me copies of, one that would amend our municipal code and one that would amend our zoning ordinance to clarify certain zoning provisions. And one of the issues that I had raised was there appears to be permitting or a lack of permitting that's not addressed in the ordinance, and that I would recommend to address it. The Tennessee law basically suggests, or not really suggests, but addresses permits, that if you wish to be a short-term rental unit owner, that you need to apply or submit an application for a permit, and that would be approved. And upon approval, then you could operate your short-term rental units. Coupled with that issue is charging a fee for the application and the permit, because there would be some review that would be required to make sure that everything is up to code and fire standards are met. And also just some time reviewing required paperwork. Several, the municipalities that I had looked at the time, they were charging anywhere from $75 to $125 for the permit process, and then every year after that, most all of them were charging $100 for a renewal on a yearly basis. So those are some of the suggested changes that I would suggest to the Planning Commission would need to be made. And also, just as a general statement, there is a grandfathered provision in the state law. So, can you all hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
I keep hearing some cutting in and out, so I apologize.
We're having trouble in here. We're losing it.
I would also just, basically throw out that the state law allows for certain units to be grandfathered in. So if some property owners had already started this, then they would be grandfathered in, but there are certain requirements that they have to make in order to remain grandfathered in. And I would just recommend that the ordinance add some provisions addressing that. And, of course, it would be consistent with what the state of Tennessee requires. So those are some of the changes that I would suggest. And then I think it's just up to the Planning Commission if you all choose to regulate it, or if you recommend the regulation of the short-term rental units. I would just suggest that you have a motion to approve recommending to the City Council the adoption of an ordinance regulating short-term rental units And then I can prepare or add to these two ordinances accordingly. And Dan and I can have it on the city council agenda for the meeting, the first meeting in August.
So Susan, would our options then be, we recommend to send on to the city council for approval? Or would we also have the option if we want to say, let's go ahead, you and I get it amended and bring it back to them, say next month to look at, and then let them make a recommendation. You guys have a, yeah, okay. So let's do that because they haven't seen this document since whatever that was dated, August or October of 18. So how about if you and I go ahead and make those modifications and I bring it back next month for them to look at?
Okay, that sounds good.
All right. Thank you very much, Susan. I appreciate that.
Anything else on 8A or 10A, transient housing?
Well, no, that was just it to get I assume based on what I had read in that old document that we want to have some sort of a handle on transient housing. Yeah. Okay. So we'll bring it back. You'll have it in your next packet and it'll be adjusted as per Susan's request and we'll go from there.
10B, report on Nick Shipley property on Shady Lane.
Okay, before we do that, Bill, there is a special call city council meeting at 5:15 that we're going to lose a couple people for. And so we probably need to let them go. And we'll do a little bit of other business while they're at that. Does that work for you guys? It's your time. You got to walk all the way down.
They're going to come back?
They are. It's supposed to be a short meeting, my understanding.
Dan, I'm going to go ahead and sign off now so I can start calling in on that special called meeting.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. So I don't want to go into the, I think we can go ahead with the Nick Shipley stuff. What I just wanted to get them out of here. Yeah. But let's go ahead and get that out of the way. And the whole goal of that transient housing thing is so that we don't have bed and breakfast, but Airbnb issues down the road because we had no regulation. And Chad had talked about that. That was a long time ago, Chad, I guess.
It's been at least a couple of years ago.
Right. It was 2018. We had done something on it. We just never finished it. So the goal there is to finish that. Okay, to the Nick Shipley, let me make a note here before I lose my, since I'm such a good secretary.
Guys, this is Chuck Sullivan. Can you hear me?
We can hear you, Chuck.
Okay, I got a question for Chairman Moore. Do we still have a quorum?
Yes. We
Okay.
have 4
That's all I
out of
know.
7.
We figured out this was going to happen, but there wasn't anything we could do about it. So you got my apologies, but we just couldn't help it. Sorry about that. Okay, so on the Nick Shipley property, we don't have to. Well, all right, thanks. He's not here. We made no progress on it except to tell him that we can't annex without providing services. And at the moment, without further work, we can't provide services, not in the way of fire protection or water up that hill without a pump. And so if he wants to look at putting in fire pumps and whatnot at the bottom of his hill, then we can talk about annexation, but we can't move forward on it since at the moment we're not able to provide services at the top of that hill.
So we need to pass on that.
It's not here. He's not here anyway. And so, and I had talked with him about the fire pumps and it's honestly, it's too small of, if you take the cost of a fire pump and divide it by the number of possible, there's not even a narrowed scenario yet. It wasn't narrowed to whether it would be an R1 or an R3 development. Okay. Chad, can you put our map up with that shady lane by any chance?
Sure, I got it up right here.
What's happened, if you look at that map, we have a little bit of, we had some discussion on this property. This is Jimmy Dill's. And you see that map says R1, right? Okay, I did some research on that, and the reality of it, this property, this is good for a preliminary plat, but this is actually already recorded at the courthouse as I want to say 70 individual lots as a townhouse development. So that exists. That on that plat in the bottom corner, it says that this property is an R3 zone. So I found nothing that shows that it's an R3 zone except for that plat, and it's recorded as an R3. Which, what does that have to do with Nick? What it has to do with Nick is this really an R3 use that's a non-conforming use in an R1 zone, or is this actually an R1 zone or an R3 zone? Because Nick can only ask for there really what would be adjoining him, given the size of his track and everything. So there's several issues right there, but
On the services, just fire.
fire, water, domestic water and fire, yes. So we have an ordinance that says that we have, that anybody doing a subdivision has to have a fire hydrant within 500 feet of every house. And then kind of sort of, there's a little bit more to that says that shall supply adequate water and fire protection. So adequate water and fire protection is really a nebulous. The adequate water is pretty easy. The fire protection is a little more nebulous, and there's different ways that different jurisdictions handle that. But we can't provide, with the way the system is, a properly working fire hydrant for adequate fire protection at the top of that hill without a fire pump.
He has to pay to put it in.
Well, that's in a subdivision with improvement required. Yes, that would be the case. So that's where that one falls out. Thank you, Chad. So I guess what if it ever does come, we've got to figure out. And Chad, maybe you got a suggestion on that, whether that's an R1 or that's an R3. Is it a non-conforming use in an R1, or do we just need to change our map to R3?
I think from all the work you did in looking through the past ordinances, if that didn't come up in the last 14 years, and I'm guessing it's probably zoned correctly and it's just incorrect on the plat. I think the real issue would be is if they want to further develop there where those townhome type structures are, then we're going to have to consider, are we going to allow them to continue to expand on that non-conforming use based on the plat that's recorded? But I think based on the utilities where there's some issues there, keeping it at a low density is probably best. Even if we do annex any additional property, it still needs to be low density unless we can show that we can provide the utilities to it to have a higher density development.
So what you're saying is we leave it alone as an R1. Jimmy's got a non-conforming use, and anything else that comes in adjacent or around that would stay R1 like the rest of everything around it.
That's what I would say, just based on what I've heard about the utilities so far.
Yeah, we've got a 6-inch water line going up Shady Lane. That's it may or may not have enough in it to accommodate a fire pump to take it up the hill anyway. We don't even know that without an engineering study to find out. So we're kind of it kind of puts it back on Nick. If he wants to subdivide that, then he's going to have to show what it's going to be and provide pump to get the water to the top of the hill.
Looks like there's got to be a lot more studies done on that before they make their applications.
That's what we're running.
And let's table it until Shipley decides what he wants to do or not to do.
I think that's a good thing. Okay,
Okay, go on.
yes, sir.
11A, all matters pertaining to RNC Enterprises, fast-paced healthcare, Dayton property subdivision.
That's what you're looking at in front of you here. And I'm just gonna let Rick and Adam, give us some, input on that for the moment to get us started off.
Nice.
Hey,
Okay,
guys,
Adam,
this is
I'm
this. You want to go,
defer
Rick?
to Adam. No, go ahead. I'm just going to defer to you.
Okay. It took me a second to get the unmute off. So guys, what we're proposing to do is, this is a lot immediately to the west of Bojangles along south to southwest, along US Highway 27. So, this is approximately a 3,700 square foot urgent care clinic. We do these kind of all over the place, all over Tennessee, Mississippi, and some other states. Typically they do a 2,700 square foot building, but in this location, they wanted a little bit bigger building, so that they could have a little bit more space. The lot that we're proposing to be on is, well, that's not right. We're typically on less than an acre, and so we're going to have 125 feet of frontage, and we would be 240 feet deep.
0.69 acres.
Yeah, 0.69 acres is what it is. And we'll also be building the extension for Harrison Drive. I'm looking at it on my computer, and you guys can't see my computer. The extension of Harrison Drive in the back. So we would be extending that. And as Mr. Fry has told us, we would be required to bond that street extension, and possibly when we get out there, might have to bond the sewer extension. Our plat and our construction plans, our surveyor picked up sewer, but we're not sure if that's exactly where it's at. We have water and electric right there at the site, but we're a little bit unsure as to where sewer is. We know it's in the general vicinity, but we may have to extend it to us a little bit. And so that is, that's basically the gist of it. Rick, if you want to chip in anything about Fast Pace, let them know kind of who Fast Pace is, I'll relinquish to you.
Yeah, we're a preferred developer for fast-paced urgent care based out of Franklin, Tennessee. We have 115 clinics currently operating throughout Mississippi, Tennessee, and Kentucky, or entering the Indiana market right now also. We typically go to rural towns. Dayton is an ideal size community for us. We like to be where there's a Walmart super center that draws traffic in from the other rural areas around you, and Dayton certainly meets all of our requirements as far as demographics go. We operate 7 days a week, from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Sunday hours are a little bit shorter. I think it's 11 to 6 on Sunday. But it's Dayton is an ideal community for us, and we have several other clinics in the general area. We're going to be building one down in Harrison, also on a site that we've located down there in conjunction with this one here in Dayton. So our projected opening date is for this clinic is October 31st. So we are in a hurry to get started, and have worked with Dan last week, and I think he's been very helpful to us in telling us that hopefully we can get through planning commission approval today, and there again we'll be able to bond some of the street work and possibly sewer work so that we can go ahead and get started as soon as possible. Obviously, we don't have many extra working days in there in order to be able to meet our clients' demands on the opening date there. Happy to answer any questions that you've got regarding Fast Pace or this particular site.
Okay, thank you. Bill, if you'll let me, I'll just throw in a few more things before we start with the questions, and maybe that'll solve some of the questions and answer a bunch of them that everybody should have in their mind. Let me start with Harrison Drive in the back. Chad, would you mind putting up our regulations about the bonding process so these gentlemen can see that?
Sure.
I should have included package.
Give me just a second. I'll
I'd
pull
give
them
you
up.
the reference, but I don't remember it. But what we got is, because they're going to do this contractually, and given the fact that they're going to dump out onto this street, Harrison Drive is the road that comes off of Lowe's Drive and shoots south along parallel to the highway. So it is run currently to the catch basins at the edge of the property for Bojangles. Okay. What they would have to do is run that road again from there to the edge of their property, the 125 feet. So that would be the improvements required for this. Other than those improvements, there's really nothing that makes this anything other than a B simple or simple B or whatever it's called type of subdivision. So it really doesn't, if they didn't have to do any road improvements or utility improvements, this would be a signature by the Secretary of the Planning Commission to divide this. Since they have to do the road improvements, I can't issue them a building permit until they have a recorded final plat. Okay, they can't have a recorded final plat until the road improvements are in. We have a clause in our, or a section in our regulations that allow for them to bond 150% of the project being all of the improvements. So that's going to be the PUG, paving, curbs, backdressing, and then any utilities that are necessary. A good estimate on that, 150% of that bond, of that estimate for a bond or a letter of credit or something. And then I can, and once that's done, we can sign the plat and they can move on and they can start working. I can issue a permit and they can start working. So that's what we're here for tonight. It requires Susan's signature as city attorney on the wording and whatnot of the bond, and it requires planning commission secretary's signature for the acceptance of the whole plat and the whole process. So our job is to look at the plat, which was right there. Ted's got several of them in his hand, and see if we like it and everything, and if it meets what we're talking about.
Okay, this is the lot directly south of Bojangles.
That is correct.
Does it go all the way to that produce?
No, it does not.
Is there another lot in there then?
There's remaining, there's remaining tract of land, approximately 6.5 acres left over. That is toward the track and south of there, an L piece that we're cutting out of.
Oh, okay.
As far as the electric goes, there is some electric to put in because it stops at a box at the line of the Bojangles / Fast Pace line. Okay, so there would be, and I've got a little drawing. Chad, do you have that? Oh, you already got it. This guy's
It's on the screen.
So there's 3 2.5-inch conduits that have to come up from that one box. You set a box at the other end, and then you'd cross the road and set another. That's where your transformer pad would be, and that would be your electrical responsibility. The pad probably follow with your dirt work, but the conduits under the road and along it would have to be part of the improvements.
Are they going to share an entrance exit with Bojangles?
Yes.
On the 27?
On the 27, if you look at that drawing right there, that is already in and done. That's a 3-lane entrance / exit, and that gives a person the ability to drive from here over to the credit union to get your money to give the Fast Pace for your treatment.
Okay.
And you can stop and get some non-fat food on the way. It's a Bojangles.
They can go in or out from that right off 27 or
That's
Harrison
right.
Drive.
That's already done for that purpose. Now, there may be an agreement issue that Chad had brought up, whether that, I don't know where we're at on that. Chad, do you want to speak to that or?
Well, I tried to pull the documents today, looking at the previous deed. what I was concerned about, and let me go back to the plat here and I will show you. On this plat right here, if you notice, it looks like the new property line will come right down the center of this drive right here. It looks like it continues on to this point right here. And so the only thing I wanted to be concerned about is making sure that it's in both deeds for both the Bojangles property and the Fast Pace property, that they both have shared access of this driveway, since half will be on the Bojangles property and half will be on the Fast Pace medical property.
So this is Adam. We do, if you'll notice right there where you're to the left of your hand, there's a joint ingress egress easement. Plat
Yeah,
book 4.
and that's what I tried to pull up today on Title Searcher, and it said that wasn't available, so I wasn't able to read it for sure. Just
Well,
to make sure that was in there.
And that's our surveyor. So if our surveyor says it's there, I'm fairly confident that it's there.
And as long as it is, that's fine. We just want to make sure that that was in place.
We would too, of course.
Absolutely.
But that was the only thing. I reviewed the plat and I didn't find any issues with it.
One more item on that before we go any further. Can you put up that Bob Forston drawing, please, Chad?
Here it is.
There it is. Okay, so that's the original drawing for that road when that was originally a preliminary plat that you guys looked at, and that's been some time ago. The water line we believe to be in and all the way on down and cut back toward the market and hook back in, okay? The sewer line, though we thought it was in, actually stops at manhole number 2. Okay, that's over there. I want to say right there where your hand is. Thank you. And you guys see that? And so what we would need from a sewer standpoint as part of that is manhole number 3, except it doesn't have to be exactly in that location. If it goes to where your property line is, and we run that section right there, no, I take it back. I'm lying to you now. I think I'm not sure where number 2 is. Where's number 3, Chad? You see
I can't.
number 3? I think this drawing might be off a little bit, but I'm going to say that there is a manhole already at the north side of Bojangles. So what we would need is for your manhole to be somewhere on the south side of Bojangles behind your property, wherever your sewer line's going to come out. And that would tie in back to the Bojangles manhole. There's one stick sticking out of the manhole right now. And we would want the same thing somewhere behind your property. It doesn't have to be all the way to the south end of your property, but it's not in to the south end of the Bojangles at this time.
That's okay. That's not a big deal for us. We'll take care of that.
Well, I think it's a 15-foot difference from what you were talking about. I measured it off, and it's going to be about 130, 140 feet to get it to your property. And if you do that, instead of the space behind your property, it's the same thing, essentially, if that works for you.
Yeah, we're okay with that.
Okay. So then what about what that ordinance requires for us then, regulation from the planning rules there, subdivision rules, would be a hard estimate or a good estimate on the cost of the improvements. Is that something we're ready for tonight or not yet?
I think we probably need to get a good estimate together, because the sewer was the one thing that we couldn't quantify because we weren't exactly sure where it was at. But if you're fairly, I've got that manhole that you're talking about that is installed on the survey. And
Yes.
if we know that it just comes out right there, we can put together a good estimate, send that to you and let you approve it. And then we'll get our bond for 150% of the amount that is of the road improvement and the sewer. And I think maybe the conduits for the electric or something like that. And as long as, I think what we can do is issue you a letter from our contractor certified of what he thinks it's going to cost. And then you can approve that, make sure that you're in agreement with it. And then we can do our bond off that. Does that seem right to you?
It seems very right to me. What do you guys feel like?
Yeah, something you all can work out.
So I, go ahead,
Does
Dave.
this
you
have
got a
to
question?
go by the city attorney, any of this?
The bond does. The bond wording has to go by the city attorney. So, what's our, see item B right up there, guarantee in lieu of improvements, all right? So we either have to have a final plat, which is contingent on road improvements, which aren't gonna happen before the final plat, or these guys are gonna miss the deadline. Or we go with item B, and the city attorney has approved, and the planning commission has accepted a performance bond. So she's approving the bond. You guys are accepting the bond from a reputable bonding company, a cashier's check or a letter of credit in the amount of 150% of the estimated cost of installation of the required improvements. Required improvements in this case are going to be sewer, what we mentioned, 140 feet roughly of sewer, 3 electrical conduits. We would need a test on the road base, which we may already have because it's already been built up and done. We may not, may they want to do it anyway in order to cover their sales, you know,
Yes,
so,
cover the paving.
right? And then we would have the pug, and then we would have the road itself, and then we would have the curbs and backdress the curbs and seed and straw. And that will be the improvements, the extent of the improvements. If that's, you know, 60,000, then we would have a $90,000 bond. If they don't perform, we finish the job and on we go. But when that's in place, I can write them a building permit and they can be building. So I guess, Adams, Rick, see what you think of this. What we're looking for tonight, in light of what we got here, is for buy-in from the planning commission for the whole process. And the only thing pending is the outstanding estimate and the bond, right?
Yeah, so
Absolutely.
I would say that we would like approval pending your acceptance of our bond amount and the city attorney's signature on the bond or whatever we need. Yeah. That sound right?
Yeah, okay, I'm gonna try to write this down right before we go too fast.
Go ahead.
All right, and then I'll read it back, make sure we got it right. Let's see. Planning commissions. Okay, Chad, if you don't like this, let me know, okay?
Okay, I'm listening.
So we're really waiting to hear a motion to proceed with the planning commission's approval pending the estimate and bond based on the estimate and the city attorney's approval of the bond for the improvements to subdivide this lot.
Can any of our utility departments provide an estimate?
I don't know that we want to do that because we're not going to do the work. So in the event of,
This will be something concerning contract.
that's correct. So it's the contractor that's got to live and die by it. Okay. So we would we would want to do due diligence to verify the estimate before we, if he comes back with a $11,000 200 estimate, we're gonna say, gee, Rick, I probably need to see three estimates.
Right.
And if you
Right.
back that, I might want to hire him. Maybe not. But So we would do our due diligence to verify the estimate, but that's what we're looking for, is a good estimate, and then we would have them bond out
I want a
150%.
motion on this right
I
here.
do, that's what,
I'll make that motion. Ted Jones, make the motion as you have just presented it there.
Chad, did you need to add anything to that before we motion a second? Did you like
No,
what
and
I wrote? Is
The only
that
thing I
all
was
right?
going to say is we'll be approving this plat pending the obtaining that bond. And so it won't be signed off on by the planning commission until that bond has been secured by the city.
Certainly.
And you guys would have the opportunity to agree or disagree with our estimate too.
Correct. I've got Susan online. Do y'all need her here? No, I think we're okay. I'll need to talk to her tomorrow probably about a bond or something. It's later this week, but we're good right now. Thank you.
I'll second.
Thanks, Lee.
Second.
Joe Runyon, second.
We got to vote by roll call. So, Commissioner Moore.
Aye.
Ted, aye. Davis, Charles, aye.
Joe Runyon, aye.
All right, that's a quorum right there. So, I think that motion passes.
Was Brady awake enough to vote?
I didn't talk to Brady yet.
Oh, he wasn't.
I don't know if he's home yet, to be honest with you.
I haven't heard. I'm wondering myself. He's had the surgery Friday, so
He didn't know if he would be home by Monday or not, so I didn't even want to.
earliest Monday.
Yeah, I didn't even want to try to call him. I talked to him Thursday, so. Okay, so, Rick or Adam, Russell, any questions there or?
No, that sounds great. We will, we'll get with our insurance company and get with, if you could maybe send us over Susan's contact info so that we can work with her on the, get our insurance company to work with her on the bonding. We'll get an estimate on that and try to get that together in the next couple of days. We sure do appreciate you all working with us. We're looking forward to being in Dayton.
Any general time frame on when we might see an estimate?
Russell, when do you think you'll have the estimate together for the street improvements?
Okay, I was trying to figure out how to unmute myself. I think a couple of days now with the information about the sewer. I'll give me a couple of days or so, and I should be able to get something together.
Okay. In the meantime, before we get that amount, if we can like I say, get with Susan and work with our insurance company, make sure we get together the form of what she's looking for, and then once we get the amount and Dan's able to approve the construction estimate, we should be good to go here later on in the week, hopefully.
Wish I could grab that.
You guys all good? Thank you very much.
See, thanks, guys. Miss
Appreciate you.
Susan. I'm gonna mute myself while I write this down. Thank you much, guys.
Yes, thank you very much. Like I say, looking forward to being in Dayton, meeting you all, and hopefully providing some health care for you when we get down there and get open.
Sounds good. Thank you.
11A. The only thing on this other business, 12, do we need to identify somebody to sign whatever papers are necessary prior to Brady's return?
Yeah, are you assistant chairperson, vice chair?
Yeah.
You want to just sign that as Brady's? It's we don't sign it tonight, but it's going to be in the next few days.
Do you want to? I can do it. You can do it.
I can do it or you can do it. Does it pay any extra money?
Rock, paper, scissors.
Here, well, if it don't pay any extra money.
Well, we just need to approve somebody in the minutes here
Okay.
that can sign.
I make a motion to approve Ted Jones to approve.
Second.
Second.
Edward K. Jones.
Charles Davis seconded.
Lee,
Ted, you signing all kinds of things, so he's.
Joe made motion.
Charles Davis seconded. Sign any necessary documents to until Grady
Signed for
returns.
Grady as needed. Okay, that's,
Do we need a roll call vote?
oh yeah, we did.
Aye. Ted, vote on this?
Aye or nay?
What was that? Vote on your signing? Aye or nay? I'll sign it. Okay.
Aye or nay?
Charles?
Charles said aye.
Aye, yeah, aye, Joe.
Joe, aye.
Okay. That puts that one to bed.
Any other business?
I have other business on BZA, not on planning.
Hey, Dan,
Motion.
Dan, real
Oh,
quick,
I'm sorry.
when are we taking up the site plan for fast-paced medical? Does it need any approval from the planning commission, or will it just be approved by you?
The site plan,
Yes.
not the plat.
No, not the plat. I was just asking about the site plan.
I'm not aware that the planning commission looks at any site plans. I don't know if they do. I don't know it.
Okay, sounds good.
No, I think that would be me.
That's what we pay you big bucks.
Is it? All right.
They need a variance or something.
I haven't studied it enough to know they need a variance, and I haven't asked for a variance, so I'm assuming Adam and
Is this agreement with Bojangles about the exit to the, something they can take care of quickly?
I would think it's producing a document, and I would almost say that it probably predated, or it may have more to do with the developer in Bojangles than,
Sounds to me like it's gonna take a little while.
That'd be a Chad question.
And what was the question about? Was it about the access?
Yeah, with Bojangles and agreement, or Dan
Well-
said the developer or whatever, gonna change their contract, or I don't think.
Well, according to the plat, it already says there's something recorded in regards to that easement, and that's what I wasn't able to pull up electronically. So it says there's something already in place on it.
In place. I don't know. Because it seems like the property line splits that access.
property line's right down the middle of the road.
And it does, but it says there was a joint ingress and egress.
Anyway, that
easement.
doesn't affect nothing.
Waffle House had to get that down there on that one lot of your place didn't it? When they built that Waffle House,
No, I
come out there in
No.
that parking lot.
no,
Sure.
No, I don't think so. Because Able Drive is a,
Yeah, but they don't come out of Dayton Drive. You come out in the parking lot there at
Oh,
Yeah, but-
Walmart.
yeah, but that wasn't our property.
that would have been
Basically,
with the
same
old
thing.
Walmart.
This is, this,
But you still gotta get that, don't you? Chad, don't you still have to get a egress out of that, go on that lot?
They will, but like I said, that will be included as part of their deed as long as they write it up correctly based on what the plat shows.
Okay, well, I mean, it's just something that's gonna have to be took care of. It's a detail, and it's gonna have to get nailed down, what we're saying.
Chad, do you have anything else?
No, sir.
Is there any other business?
Well, I did think
A motion to adjourn then. Chad?
Well, I was just going to say one other thing while you're still meeting is the planning commission. In addition to us keeping your maps updated online, one thing I'd worked with Dan on, there were some issues with the subregs and the zoning words. So I went back and made some corrections to those. So now if you look at the ones online, there's hyperlinks to the table of contents, which makes it much easier to search now. So you can actually go to the table of contents and click on the section you want, and it will take you right to it. So all of those have been updated online, and the map is now current online as well.
Great.
Chad, why don't you just go ahead and just bring that up and just show them what you're talking about? I bet we got one or two, and I'm not very old school in this either. I'm pretty new, but show them what a hyperlink is.
Okay, well, let's see. Let me get one pulled up here.
You guys will like this. It's pretty cool. I mean, once you figure it out.
Okay, let's get. Okay, so this is the website that's out there now, but what I did is I went back through with your ordinances, made it a lot easier for us to look through now. So now you see when you look at a section, it's in blue. So you can just click on that section. It will take you to that particular place in the document. So if you want to look at access control, it'll take you to that section. So it just makes it a whole lot easier for you to search. But I did your subdivision regulations the same way too. So when you go to the table of contents, anything you want to look at here, if you're interested in, say, lot sizes, there you go. So that's something I'd been going to do for a long time. But when Dan and I got to talking about this the other day and trying to search for stuff, we had a lot of trouble trying to search through here and scroll, trying to find it and type in search terms. I said, well, I'm just going to fix this for you and make it easier for you to use. And of course, this is the zoning map, which you've seen this quite often, but this does have all the latest updates on it. We did go back and make some revisions to the colors. Dan had asked for this to be a little bit easier to differentiate between the zones and to actually see the zone on there. So like where this has it listed as C1, so we went back and made those changes as well. But that's all I was going to mention to you.
Good. You can bring it up on your phone now.
What's that?
You can bring this up on your new phone.
I get my granddaughter.
All right.
Okay.
Get one of the kids.
Thank you, Chad.
We had.
I made a motion 20 minutes ago.
Yeah.
Yo,
Yeah.
Adjourn.
who was our second? And everybody said A, right? All right.
Do you have anything with the BZA?
Well, we're supposed to have, is Russell back on the line? I mean, Lance is back on the line. So we got a BZA deal here, kind of come up last minute. Lance, why don't you introduce yourself? Well, wait, I guess we got to start. Let's start the meeting first. I'm sorry, Bill, if you're, no, I'm sorry, Ted, it's your meeting.
All right. Oh, it's order. I don't know what time it is. I couldn't see.
5:55.
I'll go through this whole thing again. With our nation battling COVID-19 and the passing of Executive Order 34 of Governor Lee, governments are allowed to temporarily hold virtual meetings to protect public health, safety, and welfare and to prevent the spread of COVID-19. Public will not be allowed to access this meeting except by electronic means in order to limit the number of attendees to no more than 10 people as mandated. If you are interested in attending this meeting, you can use the following options. Zoom app, meeting ID 894-7454-2297, password 54321, or call 1-929-205-6099, meeting ID 894-7454-2297, password 54321. Okay. Call to order, reading of procedure statement, which I did. Roll call the secretary.
Okay,
Chairman here, Jones here.
Davis, Jones here.
Paul Davis is here.
No Rogers here.
okay,
That's it.
phone petition. Oh, that's you.
That's it. Roll call for any participants on the phone.
Got Lance Scholl and who's at the other number there?
We got Lance is here.
Chuck Suttles.
I'm not sure Chuck's on anymore.
We don't have any minutes available to us to
Who?
approve.
Who's the 0421?
That's me. I was just calling in to see if anything was being discussed about the school board. This is Jamie Ridley.
Okay, I think you might be in the wrong meeting on that one. That would have been,
I think I might be.
No, nothing tonight, okay? Nothing tonight.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome. Okay, so we got Adam, right? And we've got Chad. And that, all right, so that's it. Okay. I'm ready, sir.
You ready?
I am,
You're
sir.
ready for Freddie? I don't have any communications for any of it except I'm tired. Old business, we have none. New business,
We're going under other business tonight for this.
okay.
I think that's the official
All
right
new
way.
business? Well, it's other business.
Other business. Okay, hey Lance, you want to introduce yourself and just tell us what you want to do right quick?
Yes, sir. Well, my name's Lance Scholl. Me and my brother Kevin own Jake Myers Restaurant across the street. Basically, what we're looking to do is to add an outdoor venue in part of our parking lot throughout the summertime and fall, which would use up a few of our spaces. So that's pretty much it. Will be a live music and things like that.
Okay, thank you, Lance. What he's talking about is the southwest corner of the parking lot, using it for a band or something from time to time. Why does that a problem here? Because that cuts out his parking. And so the parking required for this by the city of Dayton zoning regulations requires him to have approximately 30 places. It's based on the number of staff working at any given time, and also for a restaurant we require 150 square foot per so many people. Anyway, let's say it's 22 plus 8, so he needs about 30 parking places. If they do this live event, he would lose 4 places for a stage or a place for the live event to line up. They would be doing music, and then he would lose additional parking. If you're looking at this, everything, I'm going to block your view for just a minute here, but basically everything from this line up would be lost except for these in the corner. So from this line up, so we're going to lose these down here. We're going to lose these here, these would stay.
So it's more than 4 then.
Yeah, it's losing 4 for the stage. It's losing, I think we said, I want to say
About 20 some odd parking spots, wasn't it?
It was about
Well,
20 parking places for the whole thing, for seating as well. So yeah, we're losing a bunch. The remainder of the parking, he would have these parking places on him. That's 5 or 6. There would be 2 up here and 2 here, and about the rest of them are already on TVA property. So down at the bottom there's a slice of TVA property that comes across the bottom. Can you put the lot lines on that, Chad, or no?
Right here.
There it is, right there. So you see, that's a good picture right there. Hold that. Everything from this line up would be gone except for these 2 and these 2. We're only talking about on the nights that they have a band or something there. We're not talking about eliminating the parking lot. Everything stays, but basically you would have these, which aren't quite on the property, and then these are already partially gone from picnic tables and stuff out here. But I don't know anybody else.
This is his restaurant, and he'd be losing his own customers for the restaurant. That's what he's wanting to do. Otherwise, I believe he and his brother own that restaurant.
Is there a reason that you move your venue from where you've been having it for the last couple of months down below there where everything's flat and there are no parking there? Is there a reason you want to move it from there?
Well, actually, Van Meter wants us to move it from there because apparently that is TVA, which is controlled by the city, I believe. And so in order for us to continue doing an outside venue, we would have to move it to the upper left-hand corner of the parking lot.
So is it the southwest corners?
Southwest corners, that's correct.
Southwest corner. Bill, here, and that's the only permanent structure though, right? Bill,
No,
Here's the restaurant right here.
There is,
There's the parking lot on the side of the hill, and it's that corner right in there.
he'll still have these parking spaces when there's not a band there.
oh, absolutely. Oh, that is only for a night that,
Yeah.
but it goes against our zoning regulations, the reason I brought it
But
here. It
this-
basically needs, you know,
This will be temporary permanent though.
no, he's losing nothing. It's all portable. Anything
Oh,
that
it
has
is.
is all portable. So he's losing nothing on a normal situation, just on those nights. Why do we care? The only reason we care is, if, you know, and only time I see it making a difference is if we have a big event in the park or something. He's basically using Dayton City use space
Well, even
anyway.
If it was a big event in the park, these parking spaces up there are still the restaurants. Is up there on the hill. The only thing you gotta worry about, there is just losing your own customers at night, place to park or something.
what about the condos there and the apartments?
Those-
Those people complain.
No knowledge.
If approved, we should be far enough away that it does not affect the people in the condos.
Okay.
And of course, we're wrapping up at 11 p.m. I believe, the noise ordinance.
Brady, I'm sorry, I can't hear you now.
Are you, now, you can't be selling the alcohol in the parking lot. They can't take it outside the restaurant because it's not attached to your existing structure.
Lance, did you
Are you
catch that?
I did.
Okay.
Well, we assume that the menu, soft beverages and alcohol would be available in the sectioned off venue.
Okay, it can't be, if that venue is over in the corner, you can't do that. It has to be attached to your building.
Okay, so let me explain something. What I met with Lance today on the property. Let me explain what we talked about. You see how this fits what you're talking about. We were talking about coning off right through here and to there so that you still had the handicap parking and you still had these, but and anything below, but you did not drive up through or anything. So that's going to be separate from the building. So that would present a problem with the rules in terms of alcohol and so on and so forth.
Because you're gonna have people dancing or standing out there by that stage, aren't you?
I don't know what you're gonna have. I've never been there, but
So it has to be at that, when you have it there, it has to be connected to your building. Like the outside patio at Iola's and things like that. It has to be connected.
Lance, did you catch that?
Yeah, it's going in and out, but I caught the gist of it, yes. What does connected mean? Barriers?
Connected means on the building,
Attached.
attached to the,
Okay. So, but
So
we
like
can sell.
down there underneath where you throw cornhole and stuff down there in the parking lot, actually you're in violation.
Okay. But we can still sell alcoholic beverages to go. I assume he hasn't repealed that, as far as I know, the governor.
Okay, I think what Brandy's saying is they would have to take them with them. Hang on a minute. We're
Into the parking lot or to the cars?
orders. But they have to actually leave
The premises.
the premises.
So to-go sales have to leave the
Have to,
premises.
that's for leaving the premises.
Okay, so we can't do to-go sales and then take it to the parking lot.
That would be open container.
Okay,
Okay, so you'd have to get into your car and take off before you could sell it.
I'm sorry, I couldn't understand that, Lance.
Oh, sorry. So basically you have to sell it to them. They go to their car with it and take off with it. And that's the only way we can sell it to go.
That's a to-go sale, that's correct.
Okay, gotcha. Okay. So there is no way we can legally attach barricades to the building to rope off that area.
Battery. Is that us?
But it has to be a structure, yeah. I can call ABC in the morning, but Bimbo's trying.
Hey,
to
Chad.
make that building behind.
Yes.
We're about to run out of battery here. I'm gonna have to run my office and get a cord if we're not gonna die on this thing. But I think what we're saying is it's gotta be attached to the building,
They
right?
won't approve it either.
Lance, do you wanna kick this can down the road and you and me work out a different plan or take another look at it? But I think what we know is what we're asking for tonight is something that's not gonna work.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay. All
So we-
right. Hello?
That kind of short circuits what you're asking for, right?
Basically it does.
Okay.
Yeah, it does. So I guess that's that.
Okay, so we're gonna table this discussion based on we can't act on what's proposed. Cause it's not attached for the way the venue's played out to be. It's not a legal, rule meeting use of the property as far as that goes.
So Dan, what would it
So-
take to make that change? Is it something that the city commission would have to adopt to allow for special festivals and events?
That's through the ABC. They say it has to be detached. Yeah.
Now I do know that. Sorry.
Go ahead, you go ahead.
I do know other cities across the nation, they've adopted allowances for parking lots because of COVID. So I didn't know if that was possible either. Or...
For festivals,
No, they're allowing restaurants to move into the parking lot to keep people separated. It would just be an amendment.
But Lance, I think that would only be for the short term, even if that were permissible. I think what you'd probably be more interested in is something you could do long term in years to come. And I was kind of thinking about it like big festivals you have, like Riverbend here in Chattanooga, where they allow alcohol sales in the street like that, but they have to apply for a special permit. And so I didn't know what that took for the city of Dayton, if that was something they even wanted to consider for a special permit to allow it, that you would apply on the nights when you plan to have it. But I don't know what all's involved. That's what I was asking.
The city of
Okay,
Dayton has, the city of Dayton has an open container law that you can't have alcohol in an open container in the city limits, off premises.
I think probably the best move here is, we table a discussion for tonight, and then Lance, you and I get together and maybe with Brandy and see what we can work out and take another run at it at a different, from a different angle. Does that work for you, Lance?
Okay. That sounds good.
All right.
Any other business?
Hey, thank you guys so much for taking us at the last minute.
You're welcome, Lance. All right.
No other business? I'm looking for another motion.
I make the motion to adjourn.
Second.
Everybody agree? Roll call.
Aye.
All right.
Can you want all this stuff back?
Okay, Chad, you good?
I'm good. You gentlemen have a good evening.
All right. Thank you, Chad. I appreciate your help.
Yes, sir. Talk to you later.
All right. Bye-bye.